All right, Intro to Engineering and Design. We continue to develop our CAD or our inventor skills, and this time we're going to be working on drawing kind of a simplified version of the Automoblox Male. And if you study the technical drawing in your packet a little bit, you'll see that there's a few new tools we'll be working with. We'll be using an ellipse, nothing really difficult there other than the dimensioning is a little bit different. We'll use project geometry again. Use the offset tool again. A new tool we'll use this time is called the slice graphics. I think you'll find that's a handy tool going forward. And we'll add a tapered extrusion. Other than that, I guess we'll use a revolve as well. So a few new tools in this drawing. So to begin drawing, you can work your way down through the drawing, and it's always a good idea to review the actually preview the whole drawing to see what it looks like before you go. And upon studying this, we're going to start with a square base. And if you look at that, we're actually the square base, we're drawing that from the top. So for probably the first time, we're going to pick something other than the XY plane. We're going to pick what appropriately lines up with the top plane, so the XZ plane. Now, one of my pet peeves in Inventor is what happened here. Notice how it's reading top down. I'm not a big fan of that. I always like to rotate that back around so top is reading correctly. All right, so upon, again, studying your technical drawing, going to draw a rectangle. If you remember my probably one of my biggest things I always suggest in Inventor is draw from the origin. That will pay dividends in many ways in this drawing. So if you are watching the drawing and or the video and have gotten a start, you may want to go back and do this from the origin. It's going to make life a lot easier. To do so, to make this really work for us, we want to draw using a rectangle with a 2-point center because we want the center of the rectangle right on the X and Y axis, the origin. So we click there, we just pull that out. Now we've got a square that's going to be put in there, center that square on the origin. We've got a 0.575 by 0.575. Obviously, I'm zoomed out a little far, so I'm going to zoom back in, and we should be good. We'll finish our sketch, and we're going to add a little bit of a extrusion to this. Go ahead and extrude that guy. I think we're going to go about a 0.3 if I study that correctly. Yeah, we'll do that a 0.3. All right. Now we can start drawing from that top surface again. New sketch. Again, does the same thing. Let's go ahead and rotate that so it's in the right orientation. We need to draw an ellipse. Okay. Now an ellipse, it doesn't show up as a default shape in the ribbon. So you're going to have to search for it a little bit, and maybe just the logic a little bit. An ellipse is what? It's an elongated circle. So if we look under the circle tool, there's where we're going to find our ellipse. Again, start at the origin, just like drawing a circle, and you just move that out. It looks like you just have a line. What I always like to do is just click that right on the axis, and then you just drag that out. Gets the basic shape. And then we are going to dimension that guy into place. Here's the unique part about an ellipse. We grab our dimension tool. We just hover kind of on the edge of one of these arcs, and I'm going to just move that up. And I can then put that dimension for the major axis. Let's see, we're 0.236, 0.236. And we can also get the minor axis going the other way. In this case, it's 0.155. And now we've got a correctly drawn ellipse. And we just have to go ahead and extrude that, study your drawing a little bit there. It gives you the height of your extrusion. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude this guy. And 1.5. Oh, I better get my distance here. 0.115. All right. So we start envisioning this a little bit. That's the legs of our Automoblox Male. Okay. So let's move down and look a little bit closer at the rest of our drawing here. And we're going to make another sketch right on top of his leg portion. And I'm going to reorient myself again here. We'll use our project geometry because what's going to happen, we want to use this geometry and just offset from that. So again, our project geometry tool becomes a very helpful tool to work with. And once we've got that in there, it turns yellow. We want to do an offset. And we've used that tool a number of times already. Click where we want to offset and move it out. And our offset, according to our drawing, is a 0.05. Now is where we start something a little bit new. I think to this point, we haven't done anything new per se in this drawing, but we're going to do something new. We're going to make a tapered extrusion, okay, a tapered extrusion. So we can hit extrude, and we want to make sure we get the inside as well as the outside. So click on both of them. And again, upon studying this, we know our height to be 0.84. But how do you get a taper? Well, you're going to have it sitting like this in your window for your extrusion. We need to go down here to the advanced properties. There's an arrow. We can open that up. And we want to do, I believe we're going to do a 10 degree tapered extrusion. So if we, again, take a little bit of time and study your drawing, I think it's going to reveal to you that you need to do a 10-degree tapered extrusion. Okay. To do so, we just have gone down to advanced properties and typed in 10. And now we have a body for the male. Okay. There's the base, here's the legs, and there's the body. So far, so good. Now we're going to add a couple more little things to this. We want to put a cut on the shoulders. And here comes another brand new tool. So what we're going to do, actually a couple ways of drawing, I'm going to get myself in the isometric orientation so I can see a couple things. I want to be able to cut these shoulders here, but to make that easy, I want to use a work plane right in the middle here. And to help us find that, we're going to come up here to the origin folder. If I hit the plus in the origin folder and I hover over, I've got several, the Z point, the X, the Y-axis point, the X-axis point, and then we've got the XY plane, the ZXZ plane, and the YZ plane. The same three that we started with. But because of the way we drew this, we can grab the XY plane, and if you look at that, I'm going to rotate just a little bit. But the XZ plane, if you notice, I'm sorry, the XY plane is right in the very center. If you think of how we drew that, that's partially why we drew that guy from the origin with a 2-point center rectangle. So what we can do is we can create a new sketch on this plane just by right-clicking, and then we can find ourselves a new sketch just by, oh, what am I doing here? Yep, there's my plane. Right-click, there's new sketch. Here comes a new sketch, okay? Now we don't really see the work plane because it's in the middle. There is a special tool inside of Inventor that is really handy when you want to find that work plane and know where to draw from. Down at the very bottom, what we call the status bar, there is several tools, and what we're looking for, there's one, it looks like maybe a little rectangle. It's got a blue slice going through it. That tool is called Slice Graphics. I'll hover over it. Slice Graphics, it hides the display of the geometry in front of the active sketch plane. So remember, our sketch plane went right through the middle of this. So if I click on Slice Graphics, it just hides the rest of that. If I rotate a bit, can you see what I have done there? There was my work plane. I've hid the stuff that's in front of that. For what we're going to try and do, that'll make this drawing a whole lot easier. All right, we want to do a couple things here. We want to use some existing geometry so it makes it easy to draw through. So let's use project geometry. We want that top edge. It's good to get that bottom edge, the sides here. I think that'll make life work just fine for us. Now, we are going to draw ourselves an arc because what we're going to try and do is put a cut on the shoulders of the Automoblox dude. Okay? And here's how we're going to do that. We're going to use the arc tool. And I don't get real crazy about this. We'll adjust it into place as we want. But I'm going to draw an arc that goes from here to there, and just a nice perfect arc. Um, in fact, if we want to go 1.2, we can, because that's what that arc should be. And then we just want to click this guy up to the top. Okay, 1.2, and we're at the top. Now we need to dimension him into place. And I think the guide says 0.8, but if I remember right, that's a mistake. So we want to say from here to the point here, if we make that 0.8, it's going to skew that thing way off to the right. That doesn't seem to make much sense. So let's go ahead and change that. Half of 1.2 is actually 0.6. So I think it's a typo in the guide as we're working with it. So we've got a nice even cut, cutting some here, cutting some here. And now we just need to finish making a profile to extrude. So we're going to select this point down to the very bottom. We'll draw right across the bottom, and then we'll connect that up to the other side of our arc. Okay, may look a little strange right now, but in just a moment you'll see exactly why we did what we did. All right, let's see how we've drawn that on our work plane. Now we want to make what's called a intersect extrusion. So we know extrusions already, and we've done forward, flipped, symmetric. We haven't done much with asymmetric. Let's go with symmetric, so it goes both ways when we get there. But now we've got this output down here. We can either make a join, we can do a cut, or what we're going to experiment with here is something called an intersect. If I click on that, what's going to happen is this space is going to, whatever it's intersected inside of that, it's going to cut that away. Leave the inside, actually, those items on the top. So it intersects, the stuff that intersects, it's going to keep. So that shape that we made, kind of a weird looking rhombus of sort, I guess. We're going to go ahead and cut that. And now, if we go back, you can kind of see we made a shoulder cut on this guy. All right. So what's left if we study the drawing? We're going to make this really pretty simple, but the last thing we're going to do on this one is we are going to put a head on his shoulders. Okay. To do that, let's go ahead and go to the isometric view again, hover over our work planes, and we can either pick this one or this one. We just want a work plane to draw, and it really doesn't matter which one we want to go from. Let's pick this one. Right click, new sketch. If we want to do slice graphics, we can. We know we're drawing from the center, so it doesn't matter a whole lot. And we're going to make a real basic drawing for the head on this guy. Draw a line from the top of the body, go up, pick a random number. It really doesn't matter. Okay, I've got a line. I'm going to make an arc for the top of the head. Again, it doesn't have to be too crazy. That's fine. I'm going to make a line going down. Straight line going down. I'll use my arc tool again to finish from the bottom of my line to the other line I just made. And there's like his chin. All right. We can go ahead and finish our sketch. And we're going to use a new tool we haven't worked with before called the revolve. We've got a half of an object. We're going to just spin that around this axis line. So our revolve tool up on the ribbon, our profile, it self-selects, which makes it kind of easy. Select the axis is right there. And with that, it just revolves this shape around that axis. Hit OK. And if we go back to our front view, you can kind of see there's the Automoblox dude with a head on his shoulders. If you want to have some fun with it, you can play around with the colors. Kind of fun to play with this once in a while. We might say, let's pick on the legs down here and let's go find some colors. And see if we can hit our default here. There's denim blue. Let's give him blue jeans. All right. Well, what about his body up here? Let's go find something up here. Let's see if we have anything fun like plaid. Oh, there we go. Plaid. Yeah, that doesn't really thrill me too much. Let's go find something a little bit better. Let's put a red blouse on him. We probably want to pick these top surfaces as well. Again, I'm going above and beyond, but hey, it's fun to learn some different things here as well. So let's kind of find some more red. Now his shoulders are all red. And if you want to pick on his melon, what do we want to have? Probably some sort of a beige to kind of give that skin tone color. And let's put some color on his shoes. Let's see. What do I want to do here? If I select this guy, let's put some black shoes on him. All right, hit our default. Just start typing the letter that you want or the color you want. We're going to give him, let's give him some yellow shoes, huh? So just like that, we've got a unique looking dude. He's got a red upper body. He's got a red blouse. He's got nice tan skin. He's got blue jeans on, and he's got some yellow sneakers. And there you have it. There's your tutorial to draw the Automoblox dude with a little bit of extra to add some color, have a little bit of fun with it. We want to do that in some of the successive projects that we do. So there you go. There's your tutorial for drawing the Automoblox man.